I want to talk about something that I'm noticing. I started a series called Career Advice Guides for Black Women. And that series was designed to help Black women navigate their careers, especially in challenging work environments. It covers essential strategies for leveraging your skills, experience, and expertise to thrive in your current job or transition to new opportunities. Having said that, I've been seeing various posts and reports of some of us who have been going online to express our thoughts about specific current events, and I'm not going to name those current events that do not necessarily directly impact us. And some of you may know what I'm talking about without me saying it. I have to be careful what I say here on YouTube. But a certain thing happened, and a certain person lost their life. And some of us have been going on our social media platforms to express our feelings about that. And as a result, some have been fired and terminated from their jobs. How does this relate to the career advice guides? If I or anyone else give you career advice, if we mentor you and help you to move up in your careers, it does no good if we go on social media and we make statements that we have a right to make, yes, but understand that making statements in many cases, especially in today's climate, can have an adverse impact on our career. During this age of social media, we have access to a digital soapbox of sorts. So before I go on, let me start by saying this. I believe in the protections provided by the First Amendment. I do. The rights of freedom of speech, the press, religion, peaceful assembly, and petitioning the government. I believe in all of those rights. I do. However, just because you can do something does not mean you should do it. Just because you can say something does not mean you should say it. On social media platforms that are public, searchable, and discoverable by your family, friends, or your employer. Why? Because it's just not wise. Freedom of speech does not guarantee freedom of consequences. They just don't. The Bible says it this way: you can do everything, but not everything is beneficial. That's in 1 Corinthians 10:23. As such, I want to encourage you to keep some things to yourself. We used to call that kitchen table talk when I was growing up. We didn't tell everybody everything. You know, when people went to the beauty shop, we knew that that was a sacred space, that was a safe space, and that's where we told stuff. And even then, we didn't tell everything. But kitchen table is more intimate. That's where you have your cup of coffee with your girl, with your guy, whoever. And you can discuss things that we know are going to stay here, right? It's like that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That used to happen at the kitchen table. Having said that, I want to encourage you to, like I said, to keep some things to yourself. It's simply not necessary for everyone to know your every thought about every event. There are some things that we should, as they used to say when I was growing up, keep close to the vest. I'm not saying you don't have a right to say it, you do, but I'm seeing way too many of us losing our job. Now, I get it. Other folks can say things and nothing happened to them. And I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to my community. I'm talking to people that I care about. Not that I don't care about other people, but people that I feel like I am here to mentor, guide, and coach. This is where community come in. Okay. When I grew up, we knew and understood that some things were not discussed in mixed company, period. We knew that. And this is not about keeping secrets. It's more about keeping safe. And I'm not going to belabor the point. If you know, you know. Now, I will end with this. Unless you're getting a bag, getting paid for providing commentary on hot button, highly charged and or political topics, apply wisdom and use discretion when broadcasting your opinions on social media platforms. Because let me tell you, employers are looking. And if they're not looking, somebody who you think is your friend at work is sharing it with your boss. In fact, if you have been working a job for a public agency like a government in education, law enforcement, or religious organizations, I strongly encourage you to make all of your social media accounts private. For those people, most of your followers on IG, friends on Facebook, connections, and LinkedIn, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. In many cases, you have what's called a parasocial relationship. Even with me, you don't really know them and they don't really know you. Okay. A parasocial relationship is a one sided, non reciprocal emotional connection that a person feels with a celebrity, media personality, or fictional character despite not knowing them personally. So, how does that apply to you when you're posting things? Many of us think these people are our friends and they care about us when that's just not the case. Okay. So, in Toxic Workplaces and Bosses Survival Tools for Black Women series, I talked about how many times Black women are targets of toxic bosses. Don't give these incompetent, immature, and insecure bosses ammunition to harass you. So stop sharing your personal feelings and thoughts with strangers. You might want to consider not doing the most when you post. Now, if you got it like that and you can afford to lose your job, do what you want to do. But your big sister, your auntie is just sharing with you some wisdom. I wouldn't do it. Also, know that some employers are looking at something called a social score. And so, what a social score does is they go and they look at different things. They have companies, they employ companies to look at your social media posts. Now, if you under a different name or your post, your Instagram or your Facebook and all that stuff is private, it may not apply to you. But let me tell you what I did when I was working before I retired. I blocked everybody. I blocked all the people I worked with, except one or two. I blocked all of them. And then I looked at their friends to see, okay, I know this person. I blocked them. And I blocked their family members so they couldn't go back in and see, have their friend and their daughter bring up my name and find me. I blocked them too. Everybody got blocked. Why? Because I didn't need people in my business. I didn't need people lurking and looking and trolling. Want to know my business? Talk to me. That's just some free advice from a person who's been on this earth almost 60 years. Okay. So check out the Career Advice Guides for Black Women playlist. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.